Hey there, it's Morecor 255, and this is the second channel, Morecor 255. Whoa, crazy name. So basically, I wanted a way where I can consistently talk to people without the pressure of the streams, because I feel like streaming does put a good amount of pressure on me, just like mentally. So I decided, let's make a slop channel. Well, it's not really a slop channel. It's going to be quite different from your usual slop channels, because it's not going to be talking about, like, current drama and all. All I want to do is just talk about stuff I'm, like, super interested in. And that's the topic of this video. So, obviously, it's been a bit since the FNF video, and you're probably wondering, oh, did he abandon us again? No, I did not. I went on holiday for 2.5 weeks to Disney World and Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida. And let me just say out of the gate, it was really fucking good. I really loved it there. It was great. And yeah, I bought a bunch of things which I've brought back with me. I've done some really fun things there. And overall, it was just a great time. I'd highly recommend you go there at some point, because it's very, very, very fun. So, what I wanted to do for this video is go through each individual ride and, like, attraction I did there, and just give my brief opinion on them. And at the end, I'll say, like, what my favourite ride is in each area, what my favourite area is overall, stuff like that, yeah. It's gonna be great, right? Let's do it! Right, starting off with Magic Kingdom, because that's the first place I went. It's not really in any particular order, but I'll try and go into like a rough order of what I did when. But yeah, the first park I went to was Magic Kingdom, and the first thing we did was the Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, which is like a show where it's like the Monsters Inc. cast are like, they need to get you to laugh so they can get the fucking, like, energy stuff from the movie. And it was pretty good. I mean, obviously it's targeted to kids, so it wasn't, like, too enticing or too funny. But I do like the bit where there was just one guy they just kept on, like, singling out for no reason. That was pretty good. So yeah, that was decent. For a start to the whole holiday, though, it wasn't the greatest. Oh yeah, I should also mention that was my first time in America, because that's important. Yeah, Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor gets like a 5 out of 10 or something. It was decent. I do remember the first like actual like ride thing we did was a classic that pretty much everybody knows. It's Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin, the one where you like shoot a gun at things and you get a good score. I got 82k. I know I'm pretty awesome, but my sister knew some funny strat to get like 1 billion points at once, and that ticked me off. But yeah, that was a pretty fun ride. I like the rides where you get to like, I love rides which have like some sort of like interaction with them. That I really like the idea of like you being able to do stuff on the rides whilst you're like going past. I don't really remember the other, like, the order of the other stuff we did, so I'm just gonna go randomly from this point on, really. Let's go with, Space Mountain. Yeah, Space Mountain. Space Mountain was the first, like, full-on roller coaster we did. And I was told from my family, before, like, whilst, like, in the queue, hey, this ride is, there's basically nothing to see in it, so you might as well close your eyes. So I closed my eyes during the ride because they told me to, alright? They told me to, and I didn't like it. Like, they said there was nothing to see, so I believed them, and then I just had a bad time because I just had my eyes closed. That pissed me off. I didn't like that. I blame them for me not liking Space Mountain. It's their fault. Yeah, Space Mountain was like a 4 out of 10 for me. It wasn't that fun. Oh yeah, and Buzz Lightyear is probably like a 6 or a 7. That was a good one. Let's next go with Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Now the queue for Seven Dwarfs for some reason is just like obscenely long. Like it's like most of the time it's like 90 minutes. I don't know why the queue is super long for Seven Dwarfs. Maybe it's because it was the first movie. Like yeah, I get that. But I mean, the ride was pretty fun. Like, to be fair, it was pretty fun. There's not really anything like specific to talk about with the ride. It was just a fun time, really. It was like a 7 out of 10. Yeah, probably the best one I've talked about so far. Let's go with Haunted Mansion next. I did the Haunted Mansion. I was expecting it to have a lot more like objective scares than it did, but it was really just, ooh, you're in a haunted mansion and you're seeing the things go by without it actually doing anything to you. Ooh. I know it's supposed to be for children, so it didn't have it shouldn't have any actual scares. But some things do have actual scares in them, right? Like some child-friendly things have scary stuff in it. Yeah, that was like a 4 out of 10. It wasn't super interesting. What next? Let's go with Jungle Cruise. Yeah, Jungle Cruise. That was fine. Like there wasn't much going on. It was just you go on this cruise and you see these animals that aren't real animals. They're just animatronic animals, and it's like, oh, you're seeing these animals. I can just go to Animal Kingdom to see the animals. Like, that's the weird thing about a lot of the rides featuring animals. Frequently, they have these animatronic animals, and then in Animal Kingdom, you can just see the animals. It's like, just go there if you want to see them. It's weird. But yeah, Jungle Cruise was like another 4 out of 10. So far, I know it's not looking good, but there are some bangers I haven't talked about yet. And to start off the bangers, let's talk about Pirates of the Caribbean. I really liked it. It was another ride where it's just like you sit down and you just like float. You just float around. Like, nothing really goes on it. But I really love the set design in it. I'm going to be talking about set design a good amount in some of these rides, because I think set design, like, just being immersed in the world is a key part of it, and I was pretty immersed in it, like, just floating around, just seeing, like, all the pirate stuff. Like, the sky looked so real, it was crazy. Like, it looked like it just went up so high, it was impressive. Yeah, I'd probably give that one, like, a 6 or a 7 out of 10, yeah. It was another, like, it was pretty much on the same level as Buzz Lightyear, just because I appreciate the set design on it. Alright, the last two, like, full-on rides I did that I remember, I could be missing some things, and if I am, whoopsie daisy. But the last two rides, you have to virtual queue for, where you have to press a thing on like, the Disney app, and it's like, hey, you're in the virtual queue, if you go to the ride at this time, you'll be able to go on it. And those two rides in Magic Kingdom that have that structure are Tiana's Bayou Adventure and Tron Light Cycle Run. And those two deserve the special treatment, because they are fucking brilliant. Those two rides are damn incredible. Let's start with Tron first. Tron, I don't really have any relation to the movie. I don't really care too much about it. Pretty much the time where I've most cared about it is when I'm playing Kingdom Hearts. I'll talk about Kingdom Hearts a bit more later. But yeah, Tron Light Cycle Run was really fun. I love the fact that you have to be in those in the motorcycle things from the movie, and it just feels so fast. You just feel like you're going everywhere, and it's crazy. It's crazy fun. I'd highly recommend you do that one. And I did just realize that I missed one. I missed one ride, and that was the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. I really like Winnie the Pooh. I really love the characters and all. I just really love Winnie the Pooh. It's great. And the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh was just a fun time. Like, it was just fun, wholesome stuff. And honestly, there's a surprising amount of rides which is just like, it's just fun. Like, it's just there's nothing explicitly like cool about it. It's just a good time. And the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh is a really good example of that. Like, it's just fun. And yeah, that one's probably like a 6 out of 10. And Tron, I just remembered I didn't give my verdict on that one. That one's like an 8 or a 9 out of 10, honestly. That one was fantastic. And finally, this should be the last one, Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Now this one, this one was really impressive to me. I didn't expect to like it as much as I ended up doing, but it's just crazy what it does. It just begins so slowly. You're just like going through each of the significant areas from the film and all, and you're just seeing all the significant characters and all outside of the antagonist of the film. And every now and then you get like these small drops that are like whoa, okay, I thought that would have been the big drop. And it's just such a slow burn for like 2 minutes, and then out of nowhere you just get the biggest fucking water drop I've ever experienced. Excluding a ride we'll get to later. But man, that was just insane. Oh man, I love water rides and like water parks and all, and yeah, that Tiana's Bayou Adventure definitely delivered on my love for water rides and parks. Ah, it was incredible. I'd give that also an 8 or a 9 out of 10. As far as I can tell, I might have missed a few. That was all the things I did in Magic Kingdom. And I know I did miss a few rides that are pretty obvious, like Small World, and I think there's a Little Mermaid one. But I believe those are all of the rides I did. Alright, let's move on to... Let's talk about Hollywood Studios. Hollywood Studios is definitely up there for one of the best parks in Disney World for me. I absolutely loved so many of the rides in it. Like, so many of them are amazing. And there's even my favourite ride I've ever been on there. And we'll get to that one later. First of all, let's talk about a ride I don't really like that much. Let's talk about Rock and Roller Coaster. So this ride's like big crazy gimmick is that like the beginning like just shoots you off at like 60 miles an hour, which is like one of the fastest like rides just in Disney World. And it also like goes upside down and all, and I should probably mention I don't really like rides that go upside down. And yeah, I didn't really do any of the rides that go upside down. I also didn't do Tower of Terror. I know that one's like a really like beloved one, but I'm just not really a big fan of like big drops as well. And I know that there aren't any in Disney World, but rides which are like ships that like swing back and forth, I feel pretty sick on them, so I don't like doing them. But anyway, yeah, Rock and Roller Coaster, it goes upside down a few times, and by the end of it, I just had a big headache. I wasn't feeling good. I had no emotion during the ride. I just felt so lifeless during it. And I can see why people would love it, but I just didn't really like it that much. I apologize. It's just not for me. I give it a 3 out of 10. Rides that are fast, but like not super fast, and also like take you everywhere and don't go upside down. I love those ones. Like, I believe in I think in Alton Towers there's this ride called the Wicker Man, and I loved that one. So yeah, let's talk about another show that I watched, Muppet Vision 3D. It's just the Muppets. I like the Muppets a lot. I got into Arlo this year. Arlo the YouTuber, he's cool, watch him. Yeah, it was just fun. It was just fun. I like the Muppets. The Muppets are cool. And the interactivity of the show is also really good. Like, just the way they use the 3D and all. It was fun. I liked Muppet Vision 3D. I'll give that one like a 6 or 7 out of 10. It's one of the better shows that we watched. Alright, let's talk about the first Star Wars ride. Not the first one we did, but just one of the Star Wars rides. Let's talk about Star Tours. This is something that happened in my experience with it. But there's like this part where it like shows somebody is like a traitor amongst like the people, or like a spy amongst the people who are like on the ride with you, because like an interactive like 3D like experience thing which you like feel. And I was the spy amongst everyone, and I didn't like that. I was like, oh, come on. I didn't deserve that. But yeah, outside of that, I liked it a lot. It was one of the better sit down and experience the feel of doing the stuff rides. And I do have some words to say about those kinds of rides, but I'll say that when we get to Universal. But yeah, Star Tours, that was like a 7 or something. It was a good one. Nah, I'll give that one an 8. No, 7.5. I'm bringing points into this. 7.5 out of 10. Alright, let's talk about Slinky Dog Dash. The queue for this one was absurd. Like the Mine Train, but I like Toy Story, and the ride was really fun. So yeah, there's not really specifically anything to say about it, but there was this part where goes backwards a little bit like a spring and then just like shoots you off really fast. And there's also this like wavy section to replicate the Slinkies. And yeah, it was just fun. It was good. I like Slinky Dog Dash a lot. I give that one probably also a 7.5. Yeah, it was just a solid as hell roller coaster. Let's talk about another Star Wars ride, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. This one is I feel like Star Wars overall has the most unique selection of rides, and also in my opinion the coolest selection of rides. I like Star Wars a lot. I've watched the original trilogy. At least in recent memory, I've watched the original trilogy. I've watched some of the others when I was much younger. Yeah, I really like Star Wars. And Smuggler's Run was really cool. There's so there's 2 people who pilot the ship at the front. There's 2 people who shoot like some of the X-wings that are around on the screen, and there are 2 people who have to like repair stuff on the ship in the back, because you're obviously on the Millennium Falcon and you're like doing stuff there. And I just really love the idea of having a super interactive ride like that. Apparently a lot of the time it is like pretty scripted, but just doing it one time, I thought it was really cool. I would love for like a ride at like Super Nintendo World to be like as interactive as that. Like I think the idea like could be expanded upon, and I'd love to make a video going over like concepts for rides I have, because I would love like a Metroid ride like at Super Nintendo World. That would be awesome. I'm going off topic. Millennium Falcon was really good. I give that one like a 6.5 out of 10. Like I feel like if I do that one again, the magic will get lost. But again, it really depends on where you're sitting, because my dad didn't like it and he was one of the repair people. Yeah, it was just good. It was good. Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, I enjoyed quite a lot. Let's move on to... Oh man, I loved Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. It was so charming. Like, it was just such a fun thing to go through. I absolutely loved it. There's so much to just enjoy about it. It just felt so, like, fun. And it has, like, a really catchy tune as well. It's great. There's not really specific, like, too much to talk about with it, but it was just a really fun experience, which I'd highly, highly recommend you go and, like, experience. That one's honestly, a must ride, much like the next one I'm about to talk about. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is definitely one of the better rides at Disney World. I'd give that one like an 8 out of 10. There's not a lot to talk about, but it is just worth experiencing. And I said I'd talk about another banger next, so let's talk about Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. This is my favorite ride I've ever been on. Like, I was so amazed at it. It truly feels like you're in the movies. Like, it feels like it is by far the most investing ride out of any of the rides I did at Disney World. Like, it just felt so... It felt so immersive. There we go. I'll go through the basic steps of how the ride works and explain why I loved each thing. So, you get like a call from Rey being like, "Hey, we got to take you somewhere. Don't get caught by the Resistance." And then you go onto a ship, and then it like simulates the feel of you like actually like moving through everything and all. And there's like screens everywhere showing you like what's outside, and it looks like, and everything everything like lines up perfectly, which is which is insane looking. And then the resistance catch you, and then through the way you entered the ship, you now go out of that way into just the hugest fucking like resistance base area, and it's so impressive. I did that right. I did this ride twice, and both times I was flabbergasted at that moment. I was like, no way. It was amazing. And then you get like taken through like into some prison, and Kylo Ren's like, oh, I'm going to get you. I'm going to make you tell us where your base is. And then after a little while, on the first time it took like literal minutes for the next part of the ride to appear. But on the second time it took like 20 seconds. Like there's like this laser thing that like breaks down the door. Breaks down like a side of the resistance like prison. And then, oh yeah, another thing I should mention, the people on the ride, like the people like playing the characters, they were very much in like, they were very in character. Like they felt like they were straight from the movies. They didn't break character at all. It was great. But yeah, they're like, hey, you gotta come, you gotta get on these things and get to escape pods. So then you do this like whole sequence with like insane set design. Like genuinely, the set design is absolutely incredible. You go through all of these crazy areas, and I love the use of robots as well. Like I love that most things in it are like realistic. Like they're like actually like made, like you can touch them, as opposed to like screens just like being like, oh, you're doing this right now. Oh. And by the end, Kylo Ren's like, oh, you will tell me, because he's like, right, he's got you in your grip. He's got all of the First Order guys. He's like, well, you will tell me where everyone is. And then just like big, like the whole resistance ship is like burning down and all. So you're able to get out on an escape pod. There we go. And like it has this huge drop, and it like, it feels great. It's awesome. Oh man. There's so much to do. There's just so much about Rise of the Resistance, and it is just absolutely, by far, my favourite ride in all of Disney World, and my favourite ride I've ever done, just at a theme park. That one is like pretty much the only 10 out of 10. It's the only 10 out of 10 ride I'll give to anything. Right, that is all of the rides at Hollywood Studios, but there is a few other things I want to quickly mention. Walt Disney Presents, which is basically this area which like shows off a bunch of like basically the history of Walt Disney and how he made Mickey Mouse. And also it shows like a bunch of the future stuff, like it had a little area showing stuff about Inside Out 2 and all. It was good, I liked it a lot, and it's important for me to know because obviously I'm learning animation. Doing an animation course soon, and it's gonna be great. But yeah, that was really fun, and any animation people should definitely go see Walt Disney Presents. There's also apparently this show, I think it was called like The Art of Animation or something. I unfortunately did not have time to watch it, but yeah, I'm sure I would have loved it. And finally, this show which you have to like book or something at the end of the day, Fantasmic. Fantasmic was just, it was a lot. Fantasmic was definitely one of the better shows at Disney World. There was so much like going on in it. Like there was like this whole story. It had like all the villains and all from the movies. It had the heroes. It's really got to be a thing you have to see for yourself to understand. Like it was something special. Yeah, Fantasmic, I'd probably give like a 9 out of 10, honestly. It was great. And to this day, I still have like the main like little tune from the show just stuck in my head. I don't know, man. Alright, that should be, I believe that's everything from Hollywood Studios that I wanted to talk about. So let's move on to, let's do Animal Kingdom next, yeah. There's not a lot to talk about in Animal Kingdom, so let's go. There were two Avatar rides, you know, Avatar the movie with the blue people. Uh, the first one we did was Navi River Journey, and I don't really care about that one. I mean, to be honest, I don't really care about the Avatar movies. But yeah, Navi River Journey, that was really mid. It was really boring, and it was just like, hey, you're in the big cave from the movie. Haha. It's like a 3 out of 10, honestly, it was really boring. And then Avatar Flight of Passage, which is this, like, simulation of, like, being, like, riding one of the, like, a thing from the movie and just seeing all the environments and all. I'm not really the biggest fan of the simulation things, and I didn't really like the way that one made me feel. Like, I felt pretty sick by the end of it, similar to Rock and Roller Coaster. It just wasn't a great time for me. I'd give that one like a 4 out of 10 for me personally, but I can see why other people would love it. We also did Dinosaur. I don't really remember Dinosaur. Yeah, it was just really forgettable, honestly. Like, it was fun. I enjoyed it a lot. I just really, like, I forgot about it pretty much immediately. I'd probably give that like a 6 out of 10. Yeah. But it was good, though. I'd still recommend you go on it. I did 2 shows there, I believe. The first one was It's Tough to Be a Bug, which is like a Bug's Life thing, showing off like a bunch of different bugs from the movies. It's like a 3D thing. It has like well, it's a 4D thing because it had like interactive stuff in it. Like, there was like stuff on like the seats of the chair, and they were like going through and all. I don't know how to explain it, but it was decent. I give it like a 5 out of 10. We also did this Lion King show, which I believe was at Animal Kingdom. I could not find it on any lists for some reason, but there was this Lion King show, which basically was just like a bunch of the movies, or a bunch of the movie songs, like with like these actors doing like these crazy like gymnast things, and it was really good. I liked it a lot. I'd give that one like an 8 out of 10. It was great. One of the better shows to watch at Disney World. Alright, back to rides. Let's talk about the safaris, and just the main thing about Animal Kingdom. You can see a bunch of animals there, and it's pretty cool. Saw a bunch of gorillas, I saw, like, elephants. I didn't see any lions or tigers, which was unfortunate. I think I saw some hippos. There was some flamingos and all, that was pretty cool. Yeah, just like, there's a whole bunch of animals at Animal Kingdom. And Kilimanjaro safaris, like, you see a lot of them. And it was good. I liked it a lot. I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10. Yeah. I definitely recommend you go on the safaris. Next, let's talk about, the Kali River Rapids. Right, so I love, water rides, and I love rapids as well. Rapids are awesome, like, when they're done right. The Kali River Rapids was mostly done right, I'd say. There was this big drop, and I got positively soaked. I literally said during like the wait for the ride, which wasn't that long, but I said like when we were like going down the massive queue that it has. I said to my dad, "Oh look, it says you may get wet. I like those odds." I was just like, I was so confident that I would barely get wet, and I got positively soaked. I really should have worn a poncho on that. But yeah, it was really good. I'd recommend you do it. It was like an 8 out of 10. Yeah. And then probably what is my favorite ride in Animal Kingdom, Expedition Everest. So Expedition Everest is big funny roller coaster that like has this like Yeti theming and all. I don't really care. Like, honestly, the theming is probably the weakest thing about it for me. I feel like if the theming was there, I'd probably like it more than Tron. But, it was really good. It was really good. Like, it had so much, dude. It has this part where you're, like, going forward, and then you, like, reach a dead end, and then you have to go backwards, and then there's, like, this huge area which goes pretty much at a 90-degree angle, and it's like, and then you go down it later, and it's like, whoa! It's awesome. Expedition Everest is a must ride. That one's like an 8.5 out of 10. And yeah, that's it for Animal Kingdom, as far as I remember. There could be some more that I missed. But yeah, I feel like Animal Kingdom was probably the place we spent the least time in. And finally, for Disney, we've got Epcot. I mean, there's a few other things I want to talk about with Disney, but let's talk about Epcot. Epcot was really, really good. Although to be perfectly honest, there's really only one ride that's super, super worth doing there, and for me, that was Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. That's another one which you have to virtual queue for, and that was really good. it was similar to Rise of the Resistance, but like it was more focused on like using screens and all for its environments, and obviously I prefer the more realistic stuff with rides, and that's why Rise of the Resistance is my personal favorite ride. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy comes pretty close. I'd give that one a 9 out of 10. It was really fun. Next, let's talk about Journey into Imagination with Figment. So Figment is this like weird dragon character that's like for some reason in a lot of shops. Like you can buy a lot of merch of him. I don't entirely know why, but he's there. He's everywhere. Yeah, I mean the ride was decent. It was just decent. I'd give it like a 6.5 out of 10. It was just like you can ride it if you want, but like if you're not super interested, then yeah, you're not missing out on much. Although there is this like funny area where you can do like a lot of like funny things, like you can like stand on these buttons to like play various instruments for like the main funny song which Figment has, stuff like that. It's great. But yeah, you don't need to ride it. You can just like go into the thing. For one of the rides we did is the Disney and Pixar Short Film Festival. This is basically just like you watch some of the short films, but in 3D. The short films featured are the Mickey Mouse one, Get a Horse. There's this one with this bird. I forget its name. I forget the name of it, but it was a cute one. It was fun. And then there's this one with this dog, where you can see like the life of this man from the perspective of a dog he owns, and that one's really creative. I do like it a lot. My favorite short film was definitely the Mickey Mouse one. I love the way it like pairs the 1930s cartoon style with the modern 3D style. It's great. And the rest of the films were pretty great too. I'd give this. I'd say this one is worth doing just because the short films are just great. I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, do it. It's good. And then there's The Seas with Nemo and Friends. This one was just really, really, really mid. All it is just you go through these areas which look like scenes from the movie, and then it's over and you can see like the actual fish. It was a really, really mid ride. It was really boring. And the queue for it was super long too. Like, who wants to do that? It was like a 2.5 out of 10. Honestly, it was not worth queuing for. But then there was this show called Turtle Talk with Crush, and Crush, if you don't know, is that big turtle guy who's like, dude, from the movie. And it was decent. It was similar to the Laugh Floor. It was basically just Laugh Floor again. But less interesting because it doesn't have as much unique interactions or like funny stuff with the audience. I'd give it like a 5 out of 10. It was just mid. Back to rides. I believe it was called Spaceship Earth. Yeah, it's this ride featuring where it just like takes you through like how humanity has evolved with technology and all. And that was it, really. It was like, hey, look, you can see the Egyptians making these cool things. And then you can see scientists in the modern day. And then you get to make, like, your own, like, environment thing. I forget, man. It was pretty forgettable, all things considered. I'd probably give it, like, a, I don't know, 5.5 out of 10. Go on it if you want. But, like, honestly, I'd say Figment was more interesting. I think we've only got 3 things left to talk about. Let's talk about Soarin'. I did not like Soarin'. It's a ride which simulates you just going through a bunch of real life places. Like you can see the Eiffel Tower. You can see fucking. I think there was one with the Statue of Liberty. You can see like huge deserts with pyramids and all, and it simulates you flying through them, and it felt pretty uncomfortable, to be honest. I don't really like seeing like the ground when I'm like up in the sky, like when I was on the plane going to Florida. I did not like looking outside and seeing the fact that, yep, that is the ground down there. I don't like that. So yeah, I don't really like Soarin' that much. I'd give it like a 3.5 out of 10. I see why people would like it, but I just didn't like it at all. Now let's talk about the Three Caballeros one. Does anybody know the film The Three Caballeros? Probably not, but but yeah, it's from this era of Disney films where like Disney was like close to getting bankrupt, so they just made a bunch of movies, which is basically a bunch of short films tied together. And yeah, it's one of those movies, and it was. I liked it a lot when I was younger, so my dad was like, "Hey, you gotta go in here." I was like, "Shut up, I don't care about the film now." But yeah, it was decent. It was like it's easy to forget how horny Donald Duck is in that film. But yeah, it was just decent. Like it wasn't anything too special. But I guess if you like the film, then go on it. Yeah, and I do like the other two characters that are with Donald Duck in it. Like, I like them a lot. They're pretty cool. But that's it, really. It was like a 7 out of 10. No, it was a 6.5 out of 10. Yeah, 6.5. And finally, as far as I can tell, we've got Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. So, I love Ratatouille a lot, and I specifically wanted to go on this one, so me and my dad queued for like 2 hours, basically, for this one. And was it worth the wait? Kind of. It was fun. I liked it a lot, but it really isn't worth queuing for 2 hours. It was like it takes you through these like areas from the film as like you're a rat. Like there's like you get to like see the like really big food and all in like the food cabinet or whatever it's called. You get to see other things like I can't remember, but it was good. I liked it. I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10, honestly. It's still worth doing. Just try and do it when the queue isn't 2 hours, like maybe 50 minutes. And as far as I can tell, that is everything I did in Disney World. There might be a few things I'm missing. In fact, there are a few things I'm missing, which I will talk about now. But those are all the things I wanted to talk about now, as I wanted to leave 2 things for last before going on to Universal. Those things being Disney Dreams That Soar and Happily Ever After. So Disney Dreams That Soar is this like drone show where like drones like move around in specific formations and show different movies and all, or like specific like things from movies. It was pretty good. I liked it a lot. Sometimes it was pretty difficult to like tell what they were like supposed to represent. But yeah, it was overall really good, and I liked that they showed WALL-E in it. I really like WALL-E is my favorite film of all time, and I love WALL-E. So seeing WALL-E in that, it made me very, very happy. And that was literally the last thing we did at Disney. The day after that, we were getting on the plane to go home. So yeah, it was a nice thing to have at the end. You know what would have been better as the final thing we did? The Happily Ever After show at Magic Kingdom. This is a 10 out of 10 show. It really does represent the magic that Disney World wants to represent. Like, they call it the happiest place on Earth, and whilst it isn't the happiest place on Earth, Happily Ever After really makes you feel like it is. Like, it felt so reassuring to me. It felt like I needed to get that happy ending, you know? Like, it felt like after that, I was saying to myself, like, I need to make these videos that I want to make. I need to make this animation that I want to make. I need to play these games I want to make. I need to watch these movies I want to watch. I need to have a good life. It felt great, and it is a must-watch for any visit to Disney World. It's definitely a 10 out of 10 show. Go watch it. Alright, now finally, my throat's dying, I've been talking for 44 minutes. Let's talk about Universal. Let's quickly skim these because I don't want to talk about these for much longer. Alright, let's begin with the first thing I did in Universal, which I believe was the Transformers ride. And it was one of the better screen rides at Universal, because a lot of the Universal rides I did were like just screens that I watched stuff happen on, and I didn't like that much. But yeah, Transformers the ride was one of the better ones because it felt a bit like it gave me vibes of Rise of the Resistance, and that made me happy. So yeah, I'd give that one like a 7.5. Yeah, let's go with that. Next, let's talk about Cat in the Hat, I guess. Yeah, Cat in the Hat. It's just a ride that just represents everything that the book has, and that's it, really. I mean, it was fun. It was like a 6.5. That's it, really. It's just the book, but as a ride, and it was fine. Next, let's talk about the Despicable Me stuff. Eliminations, Villain Con Minion Blast. It's similar to Buzz Lightyear's, but you're standing up and you're shooting like minions down and all. I got to shoot minions, and that was and that's the end of it. I'd give it like a 7. No, it's not a 7. 6 out of 10. It was fine. I couldn't figure out how my gun worked at first, which was annoying, but I did it. It's fine. It's all good. It was fun. That's it. Let's talk about E.T. Adventure next. So there was this E.T. ride there. There's this weird thing where they had this like ticket thing, and they needed your name for it, and it never amounted to anything. You just got a ticket and you gave it to the guy at the thing, and you went on the ride, and then it's over. That was really weird. But overall, I quite liked E.T. Adventure. I know most of my family didn't, but I thought it was quite fun. I just thought it was quite awesome. Awesome. I thought it was quite wholesome and just fun to go through. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. Yeah, 7 out of 10 for E.T. Let's talk about the Simpsons ride next. Yeah, so Simpsons has a ride in a little area in Universal, and it was alright, it was fine. It was another one where you just experienced the stuff going on the screen, and it was 3D for some reason. Like, why was it 3D? They could have done it 2D. Honestly, I probably would have preferred if the stuff that was happening on the screen was 2D instead of 3D. But, oh well, it was still fun. It was still decently fun. I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. Let's talk about the Hogwarts Express. So, my family's a big fan of Harry Potter. I'm not a big fan of Harry Potter. And I wasn't there for when they did most of the rides at Universal because I had a massive sunburn. So yeah, that's sort of on me. I know, I apologize. But we did end up doing Hogwarts Express because we needed to go to see this big we went to see this big show about Harry Potter. But yeah, the Hogwarts Express was cool. It had this it had stuff going on the outside, like this big hand that came over and like died and all, and these voices on the outside. It was fun. It was fun. It was fine. I give it like a 5.5. It's not really a ride. But yeah, go on it. Go on it if you need to go to each section of Universal easily. Let's talk about another Despicable Me ride. Despicable Me Minion Mayhem. This one, you turn into a minion and you go through Gru's lab. That's pretty much it. But I quite liked it. I mean, there was a wholesome bit where where Gru was like, "Hey, I made the girls happy anniversary things," and that was wholesome. I like that. But yeah, that was it really. It wasn't that like interesting, but yeah, I quite liked it. It was a decent screen ride. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. But by the time we got to Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon, I was quite sick of screen rides, because on the day we did it, on the day we did that one, I believe we did Despicable Me one. Yeah, we did the Despicable Me one, and I just had like Transformers and The Simpsons stuck in my head, and I was like, mate, there's so many of these screen rides, and I just want to experience a genuine roller coaster. And yeah, by the Jimmy Fallon one, I was just sick of it. And yes, there is a Jimmy Fallon ride. I don't know how they made a Jimmy Fallon ride, but it's kind of funny, because all I was thinking during the ride itself, I was just thinking about that one Smiling Friends episode where Mr. Frog goes onto the Jimmy Fallon show, and I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. But yeah, that was like the only enjoyment I had from it. Like, the ride itself, I was just like stone cold. It was like a 4 out of 10. I'd love for more roller coasters to be at Universal. I know there were a bunch that I didn't do, like Troller Coaster, and like the Incredible Hulk. I think has one, and the Velocicoaster. My family were talking about that a bunch. And apparently, a lot of them didn't like that one. Anyways, we have 2 rides left, I believe, to talk about. Those being Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls and Revenge of the Mummy. And these 2 were definitely the best rides at Universal I did. So yeah, the Ripsaw Falls, it's similar to, it's very, very similar to, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, but you get more wet. I was positively soaked. Like, I know I was saying that for Cali River Rapids, but I feel like I was overstating Cali River Rapids. Dude, I was literally, I was wet, like my t-shirt was wet for pretty much the whole day. and I was wearing my Pikmin t-shirt as well, so that was sad. But yeah, that Ripsaw Falls was great, I'd give that one like an 8 out of 10. And then the best roller coaster, because it's the only roller coaster I did, was Revenge of the Mummy, and that one was great. Revenge of the Mummy was great. It had so many twists and turns, and so many interesting things that happened during it as well. Like, it was really good, and I'd highly recommend you do that one, if you ever go to Universal. So yeah, that's everything, right? I didn't miss anything, did I? I did miss one. I missed one. Let's talk about the absolute shit show that was Fast and Furious Supercharged. This one was so... Literally, me, my dad, and my sister's boyfriend, my older sister's boyfriend, we all did this ride, and we all collectively agreed that it was the worst ride we ever did in that holiday. That one was so awful. Like, to begin with, you go into this area with, like, these people trying to be funny a little bit, and, like, they're talking over the like, screen, so it's like, who should I focus on? Pick one. And then you go into this big, like, bus thing, and then you're like pretending to go forward, and then you can see to the right where you're going next, so that, like, completely destroys the illusion. And then you get to, like, the party that everything's been, like, saying, because, like, the screen's like, hey, we're gonna get you to this party. And then you get to the party, and then the party's immediately over, and then out of nowhere you're doing this big, like, chase sequence, and, like, the things that, like, just spewed out like smoke were just really loud. They really hurt my ears. And then once you, like, stop moving, you like you turn the corner, and you're like, oh wait, so what's gonna happen next? And then the ride is over. Fast and Furious Supercharged is the definition of what not to do, dude. It is genuinely awful. It wasn't worth waiting for 30 minutes, and that's how long we waited. It's just not worth doing. It's just a bad time. You also get sprayed with water at times where it does not make sense to spray with water. It's so bad. Don't do that one. It's like a 1 out of 10. It was so bad. But yeah, now, that is every ride that I did reviewed for Disney World. Whoopee. Jesus Christ, I've been talking for 55 minutes. I'll quickly say, just one more thing that I haven't talked about that is significant. I went to Typhoon Lagoon, I think it is, which is this water park, which has this really massive wave that that like arrives at like specific times, and it is just absolutely huge, and it was really fun. But that is also where I got my sunburn, so how fun. And I literally could not do anything for 2 days straight because I had this massive blister on my shoulder, which did not allow me to wear a shirt. So that was really fun. But yeah, that's pretty much every significant thing I did at Disney World and Universal. These places are definitely magical. Go there at some point. You definitely, if you haven't, you are missing out. Yeah, just go to Disney World and Universal at some point. It's great. In terms of other things that I did at America specifically, I had an IHOP breakfast, and that was good. I had Raising Cane's, and that was good. I tried out McDonald's there. It was decent. I'd say I prefer the English McDonald's though. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I need to talk about. I may have missed some rides, as I've said many times before, but I've been talking for 57 minutes, and I just need to stop. So yeah, that's it for the first video to be released on Morecor that's like in this format. There will be more releasing later down the line of just random topics I want to talk about. So yeah, I'll see you soon, I guess. Bye bye.